Yeah, after seeing all this, Hifumi was super involved in this whole thing for sure. In fact, he was behind the whole thing. In fact, he's still alive!
For fuck's sake, Hero.
Sorry, no. When we found him in the repository, Hifumi was truly and completely dead.
And he pointed the finger at Hero?
The second body discovery announcement proves that.
Maybe he was protecting the real killer.
So then, who killed Hifumi?
Whoever did is the mastermind, the true killer.
He was killed in the repository, so he must have been killed not long after transporting Taka's body.
So he was betrayed, maybe?
So, he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished, but before we found both bodies in the repository.
During that time, we'd all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body. In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis.
Wait, but me and Sakura were together. Stop trying to steal the spotlight, you stupid walrus! Who are you calling a walrus?
What a bitch.
Anyway, when they were killed bothers me too. But there's something that's been bothering me even more.
And what might that be?
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi.
The weapon?
Yeah, 'cause I mean, according to the Monokuma file, the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same, with them having similar fractures and all.
Right.
But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office and equipment room, right? So if Hifumi was killed in the repository,
Well, that's a good
culprit would
point.
have had to grab one of the hammers, kill Hifumi, then put the hammer back where they found it.
Wow, good thinking, Hero. I'm shocked.
But wouldn't that be seriously risky for him?
It must be the cleaned hammer I found.
I'm surprised. It seems there's some semblance of a brain knocking around that skull of yours after all.
I choose to praise him for it. Good job, Hero.
Hell yeah, it's packed in there good and tight.
He's right, though. I don't understand it either. The Monokuma file makes it clear that they were killed using similar instruments. But if the hammers were already laying around those other rooms...
So the question is, how could the culprit have gotten their hands on either of the hammers? Personally, I haven't a clue. So which hammer was used to attack Celeste? Number 1 or number 2?
Those were accounted for in other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big enough to kill someone.
Then,
Is it not possible they used a different weapon?
I don't think it is possible. They were both killed with the same kind of thing, right?
So then, what was used to kill Hifumi?
The weapon that was actually used to kill Hifumi. The whole picture surrounding this case won't become clear until we figure that out. So now I have to find the truth. It's gotta be the hammer I found. Yep, spotless hammer, there it is.
What was used to kill Hifumi? Was it Justice Hammer 3? Maybe Justice Hammer 4?
well, whatever it was, there's one thing we have to figure out. How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it? Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance!
Okay, whoops. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I want to stab your seriously, adorably serious face off.
Shoot!
Alright, I'm sorry.
What was used to kill Hif? Was it just maybe Justice?
Well, what if there's one? How was the culprit able? How did nobody witness? Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its. Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info.
Well, one thing seems pretty clear. The murder weapon had to be one of the Justice Hammer.
Nope.
No, that's wrong.
And you were doing so well, Hero. I'm kidding. You're doing great, man.
The murder weapon wasn't a Justice Hammer at all. No, it was something completely different.
But seriously? A different weapon?
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily used that to kill Hifumi. Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris. But for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean.
Huh?
And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was used to commit murder. If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off. I'd also like to point out that the repository has all kinds of hammers. Big ones, small ones, and even some flat mallet-like ones. I think whoever made the Justice Hammers used those as a basis for their design.
If that's true, that would explain the Monokuma file's note about the wounds being similar.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used a hammer to kill him.
I wish we could ask Monokuma why he wouldn't tell us the time of death.
And whoever did that is the true killer. The one Hifumi was working with. And the one who betrayed him. Hold on a moment. I still think it's strange to assume someone was working together with him.
Well, if it was you, of course you would think it's strange.
The way the graduation rule works, there is no benefit to helping someone else carry out a murder.
But he killed Taka.
So the idea that anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous. We talked about this, did we not?
We did talk about how there wouldn't be any reason for anyone to work together. At least that's what we thought at first, but...
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together on this.
That is how the rule was explained to us.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were two murders.
Right. So I
Based
think I
on the
need
rules that
to...
have been laid out, even if more than
With
one,
the
only the
flash
one who
bullet, I need
actually
to
carried
grab
out, assuming the rule holds
Kyoko's
true,
statement.
it is simply
In
impossible.
this case, however, there were two murders.
Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that
No, that's wrong! Since there were two murders, it's at least plausible that more than one person was involved.
What do you mean?
If there'd only been one murder, then yes, the idea of an accomplice isn't really worth considering. Naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward benefit.
Risk versus reward benefit?
The payoff for working together. The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in a scheme. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you. However, if there were some potential mutual reward for the risk, then cooperation becomes possible.
You're saying that two people could act as each other's accomplices to commit two separate murders.
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime. And based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first one to act, murdering Taka.
He was manipulated.
They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping them later on.
So in this case, there wasn't one single person committing multiple murders. Instead, each person killed someone, creating two separate incidents. And it only looked like one person because that's how the true killer designed it to look. A single suspicious individual, a similar weapon used in each crime, disappearing bodies. By creating one seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it all.
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan. And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
That's just awful. How could anyone be so cruel?
Wait, there's a rule against accomplices? I don't remember that being a thing.
You think so? I can't help but admire its cunning. Still, their choice of accomplice seems odd.
If anyone could manipulate Hifumi, I'm thinking of Celeste. The effort made to convince us the two murders were the same. That was the main characteristic this time. And even after they attacked him, he pinged the finger at Yasuhiro to protect the true killer, right? Kyoko must have noticed that fact from the very beginning, which is why she said not to look at this as a series of connected events, but entirely separate incidents. Kyoko really is amazing, although, when you think about it, she's almost too amazing. Like, it's almost unnatural how good she is at this.
I understand how an accomplice could be involved, but then who was the one pulling Hifumi's strings?
That's problem numero uno right now!
The true killer manipulated Hifumi to carry out a number of actions, and in the end murdered him. In the debates up till now, the way the case is unfolded, when you consider all that, there's really only one person who seems to fit. Oh really? They want me to guess? Well, I'm thinking Celeste.
Here's my answer.
Oh man, I like
It was
Celeste though.
Ah, so I'm the suspicious individual now, am I? I really do hate this kind of joke.
A joke? I wonder.
So what you are saying, then, is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi. The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him,
Alright, calm down.
that I would go within 10 feet of that shit for brains, that lazy, worthless, goddamn idiot!
I love that she loses her accent when she gets angry.
Pardonnez-moi.
Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it.
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of you. Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the two of you were working together.
What is it that only Hifumi and Celeste had in common? Encountering the suspicious individual.
I got it! The behavior they had in common has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit, doesn't it? The only ones who ever actually saw Robo-Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Shush. The adults are talking now.
Oh, don't be a prick.
Sorry.
Makoto, don't back down.
As he said, only Celeste and Hifumi ever laid eyes on the costumed individual. If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct? And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said?
I saw a shadow, something moving around at the top of the stairs.
We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen. Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the third floor,
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
and when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said?
Celeste, what's wrong? That was a rather intense scream for someone like you. I saw him, the strange costumed man. He ran off as soon as I screamed. I was blocking the stairs, so he headed further down into the hallway and disappeared.
Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab, it was time for her partner to get to work.
Huh? What was that? I came from downstairs. It must have been Hifumi. He's in the nurse's office. This is bad. Come on, we have to go back.
It was to get us to divide into two groups. So that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
In fact, Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up.
Then why don't we split into 2 groups? I'll lead the hunting party. That seems much more interesting. Very well, then Makoto and Hina, you come with me to the nurse's office. I will leave the capture of the suspicious individual to Toko, Byakuya, and Sakura.
Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected.
Oh damn, if it is Celeste, it was a pretty good plan. It's so shitty how she turned on Hifumi.
And on top of that, that piercing cry of yours early on. That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it? It was your way of telling him, we're on the 3rd floor, everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead.
I certainly was not expecting this. I did not imagine that Hifumi would be murdered.
Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
I don't believe it. Everything, the whole thing was one big act.
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
Yeah. I was feeling kinda sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom.
Wait, then that was...
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed. Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
There's that poker face.
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but looking back, I can say that that one little slip-up was your undoing.
Tell me, Byakuya.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.
They must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around frightened and confused. We're all going to die here. We're going to die just like those guys died.
I remember her saying that too, but I don't understand what's so strange about it.
Then pay attention. Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover Taka's body in the equipment room. Then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed, so Sakura and I left with Makoto. Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the 4 of us headed to the nurse's office. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead.
Whoa.
Think about it. Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Although I don't really get what it means.
You hear that, Celeste? Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
Byakuya said that Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. But what is he alluding to? Oh boy, this is so intense.
All I said was... They must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's... It's obvious, isn't it? What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
Right, I think I have it.
All I said was they must really be enjoying the sight of us standing around. They must be positive. We are all going to die here. We are going to die,
just like those guys died.
Oh, wrong? Okay.
Shoot!
All I said was...
Oh, I've got to go
We
back
must really
again.
enjoy it.
All it take. What was so
Strange about Celeste's
comment?
Ah, what?
Shoot!
Yeah, alright, Pinocchio, stop being a dick.
All I said was they
What
must
was so strange about Celeste's comment?
All I said was they must really enjoying the sight of us. They must be positive. We are all going to die. We are going to die.
Just like those guys.
Got it, okay.
No, that's wrong. That's right. There's no reason Celeste should have said, just like those guys died. When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
So how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person had been killed? And how did you know they were both guys? Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
That's a new pose from Makoto, I think. I don't think we've seen that one.
You all have such vivid imaginations. You know that?
Oh, I love when you accuse someone and they're able to keep their composure. They're like, no, you're wrong.
Imaginations.
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw. Then what about the picture I took? How do you explain this picture of the costumed villain dragging Hifumi away?
It has to be some kind of setup, right? So let's put the suit on, and then she used the camera's timer to set up the picture.
She couldn't have put it on. You're the only one who could wear it.
Have you so quickly forgotten? You are the only one who could have possibly fit into that suit. Plus, I happen to know that this particular camera does not have a timer. In other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away. If everything I told you was a lie, how can this picture exist?
Simple. Are we sure that's really a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away?
What could you possibly mean by that?
Surely there are other explanations than the one you've offered up.
No, there is no other explanation.
Other explanations? If it wasn't a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away, the only other possibility is Hifumi is dragging the suspect away. Hifumi and the suspect are dancing? Huh? Yes, I suppose in a certain light you could interpret it that way. Is this some kind of bad joke? Surely you can't be serious. I guess I was wrong. Don't make me lose, don't make me lose, don't make me lose. Oh, fuck. Hifumi is dragging the suspect away?
I got it! It's not a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away. I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away.
That's certainly within the realm of possibility. The one being dragged off in that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit. We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even farther. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
That's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Such a thing is utterly impossible. Hifumi was dragging him away? Ridiculous.
Is it? I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
Then shut your mouth and allow me to educate you.
Oh, I love her. So let's think she could prove that there's no way Hifumi was dragging the suspect away. But is that really possible?
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out. Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight. You tried to make me look like the bad guy.
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
Then the fortune-telling idiot is the culprit after all!
No way!
If I remember right, Hina said, she said that she couldn't bend at the waist.
Then the fortune-telling idiot is the culprit after all!
Alright, you can't even bend over, right? I think that's
Dressed me
what,
up in that suit after I passed out.
The costume.
Then you just draped me across. You tried to make me look.
Like I said, as you can see in the picture, if the person inside, there's no way
They could stand up straight like that.
Got it.
No, that's wrong. No. Even if the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand up like that. Because that Robo-Justice suit had a certain characteristic.
You totally can't bend at the waist. Seems like a pretty obvious oversight.
That's right! They totally made a mistake when they made it, so it couldn't bend at the waist.
I'm not so sure that was a mistake. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used the way it was.
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they'd specially designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake that whole thing. The point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
Whoa.
Well then, I suppose this is checkmate.
Checkmate?
Don't make me laugh, you idiot! What do you mean, checkmate?
Celeste?
Clearly, you want to cram me into your little guilty box. Well, there's one little problem.
Have you already forgotten what Hifumi told us as he lay dying?
Hey Hifumi, who was it? Who attacked you? Who tried to kill you? Who killed me? That's right, I remember their name. Yasuhiro.
When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear, was it not?
That condescending voice.
He said, and I quote, Yasuhiro. In other words, Yasuhiro Hagakure!
Wait! But my name isn't really Yasuhiro! It's actually Taro!
Your confusing statements don't make any sense. You're only making things more complicated.
He did say Yasuhiro, but are we sure he was really pointing the finger at Hiro?
What the hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive!
Whoa.
Kyoko, what do you mean by that?
Catfight?
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us. How did he refer to each of us?
He said people's last names.
I got it! That's right! Our last names! He called us all by our last names!
Exactly. I know I heard him say Mr. Naegi more than once, for example. So if Hifumi did mean to say Hiro's name, he would have said his last name, Hagakure.
What's Celeste's last name? Budenberg. Okay, so why did he say Yasuhiro?
I'm sure it was just incidental. By chance, his first name.
Indecent?
Don't talk.
Random chance. Now isn't that a convenient explanation? No, there's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal. But he must have run out of energy before he could say any more.
So Hifumi was trying to tell us the last name of whoever killed him?
But the name he said doesn't apply to anyone here.
Well, no. Hold on. There's one person it could apply to,
Whose name ends in
and
hero?
that's Celeste. She never actually told us what her real name is.
What, and Hifumi knows?
What did you just say? To think you take your false accusations so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit! Come on! Enough with your idiotic blather! Yasuhiro is a loser's name! Do I look like a loser to you? Well, do I?
Yeah, she's kind of scary.
What? I think I've earned the right to be a little on edge.
Okay, then fill us in. What's your real name?
Fine! Make sure your ear holes are wide open and listen up! My real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you please stop making me repeat myself over and over again?
Celeste still won't give up, so then I have to do something to make her accept it. Just ask Monokuma what her last name is. Maybe... I mean, does he even know her e-handbook says Ludenberg?
Hifumi was trying to tell us something. He wanted us to know the killer's last name, Yasuhiro.
If there's one person here who might have that last name,
It would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told anyone what your real name is.
How many times do I have to tell you? My name is... Celestia Ludenberg, god damn it!
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
I'm not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me...
No, that's wrong.
Show us your handbook.
That's it. The handbook.
What?
Anytime you turn your handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up, right? Monokuma told us all about it before.
This handbook is absolutely vital to a healthy school life, so don't lose it. When you start it up, it will display your name. Always make sure you have the right one. Now, this is not your everyday notebook. It has so many more uses than that.
So all we have to do is check her handbook, and that'll clear up everything. That's how we can find out Celeste's real name.
That's an invasion of privacy. I refuse to cooperate.
Celeste, can you please just tell us what really happened? Please, just tell us.
Even when I'm put in check, it's just my nature not to give up. Because... Until the game's over, you never know what might happen!
Fine then. Let me settle it. Let me go over the case again, from the beginning, and shed light on all your crimes.
Good time for the comic.
And that'll bring everything to an end.
Alright, closing argument. Whoa, what's with Hifumi's face? Okay, so they were meeting here. Damn, dead legs though. In this case, how did the killer recruit their accomplice? Was it seduction? How did they convince Hifumi? What the hell is this picture? Alright, let's do the rest and come back to that one. What time did the killers call their victim to the rec room? Oh, no, that's not right. Who was it that the killers summoned first? First it was Yasuhiro. They knocked him out, then stuffed him into the Robo-Justice suit to falsify their evidence, and they used a certain item to do it. To drug him? Chips? I guess it's chips. I don't know. Oh, there's Taka. Oh. What time was Taka supposed to head to the equipment room? Oh, I think I actually got the names mixed, the time was mixed up. Let me switch that. Damn, Hifumi. Never expected this from you. The Justice Hammer that was used to kill Taka, what number was it? 1, 2, 3? No. It was 4. It's upside down for some reason. In the library, Hifumi used something to fake the existence of a shadowy criminal. Hammer's Justice 2. Which Justice Hammer was in the nurse's office when Hifumi was pretending to be dead? 3. Hifumi used something to move Taka's body. The top? Is that it? He thought he pleased Celeste, then he turned his back and she smacked him. To him. The weapon the killer used to murder Hifumi. What was it? It was the clean one, right? Oh wait, where is it? There it is. So, how did she recruit him? I don't know. Alright, that's my best guess. I might have gotten the first one wrong.
The killer is you! Before anything, the killer persuaded someone to help carry out the murder. And that person was...
Yep, alright, that's wrong. Oh, okay. I don't fucking know.
Here's exactly what happened! Before anything...
Okay, there we go.
Hifumi, with an accomplice, the killer was able to execute a number of otherwise impossible schemes. First, they convinced someone to meet them in the rec room last night at 1 in the morning. That someone they met with was Hiro. The murderous duo intended to pass Hiro off as the prime suspect. So when they met up with him, they drugged him, knocked him out, and stuffed him into the Robo-Justice suit.
Okay, the chips are on too, of course.
Here's exactly what happened. They drugged him, knocked him out, and stuffed him into the Robo-Justice suit. Next, Hifumi positioned himself to make it look like Robo-Justice was attacking him. while the killer used a digital camera to take pictures of the assault. They did all this just to create evidence that would put the suspicion on Hiro. When they were done with him, they shoved him, still unconscious, into the pool room locker. And then finally, at 6 a.m., they moved into the murder phase of their plan. They called Taka to the equipment room. And that's where Hifumi killed him, making it the scene of the first murder.
I never thought Hifumi could do that.
The murder weapon was Justice Hammer 4, which was left there in the equipment room. The reason Hammer number 4 was used was to create confusion about the order of the crimes. So, next they falsified 2 more assault incidents. For these attacks, the killers pretended to be the victims to solidify Robo Justice as the suspect. The first fake incident was the attack in the rec room. There, the killers wanted us to see Justice Hammer 1 and the Robo Justice pictures they'd taken. They wanted to make sure we bought the surprise attack story. The second fake incident was the attack in the library. This time, they planted Justice Hammer 2 and an injured Hifumi to sell us that story. With these 2 incidents, the killers were able to create a certain preconception in our minds that the suspect was increasing the size of the hammers and attacking people in order as they did. We fell right into their trap and started looking for the suspect based on that, but while we did that, we left Hifumi alone in the nurse's office. This was exactly what Hifumi was hoping for. He took a blood packet from the refrigerator and Justice Hammer 3 and turned the room into a crime scene in which he himself had apparently been brutally murdered. He let out a scream to draw us back, and when we returned, that's what we found. Meanwhile, the other group that had been out searching found Taka's body at the same time. So when we heard the body discovery announcement, we naturally assumed it was for Hifumi. We left the nurse's office, and Hifumi once again took advantage of the situation. He simply got up and made his escape. When we learned his body had disappeared, we all rushed back to the nurse's office. And once again, Hifumi had the chance he was waiting for. This time, he snuck into the equipment room. He wrapped Taka's body in a tarp and used the dolly to move it all the way down to the repository. That explains how each of the bodies disappeared.
Right.
But even Hifumi didn't know what the true killer had in mind for their final act.
Oh man.
Their plan all along was to kill Hifumi and get rid of the one person who could betray them. And they did it using an ordinary, everyday hammer from the repository. That should cover everything that happened in this case. And the villain behind it all is...
Oh, this is cool. It's kind of like a wedding photo. Oh, that's really cool.
Celeste! Sorry, you lose.
Celeste is a really worthy rival as the first of the girls to kill someone.
I lost?
Oh, but we're gonna lose her now.
I lost? When was the last time I was forced to utter such words? They hang heavy around my neck.
Then you admit it? You're the killer?
Listen to you, trying to take charge, as if you're my private instructor. I, Celestia Ludenberg, Actually, no. Taiko Yasuhiro is fine.
So why did you tell Hifumi your real name?
Taiko?
So, you finally accepted it.
I'm the kind of person, once I've lost, I don't like things to drag on.
Interesting.
We still don't know what happened to the laptop. How well did I do? Okay, another A. Hey, more coins.
Okay, Monokuma. I'm ready to begin.
Oh, no.
Or, no. I suppose this is the end, isn't it?
It is indeed the moment we've all been waiting for. Time to vote. Okay? Okay.
And she accepts her defeat with grace.
If you would, please locate your lever and cast your vote. And when the votes are tallied, who will become the blackened? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
How's he gonna kill her?
What?
It's basically a formality at this point, but once again, you're totally correct. The blackened this time. The true killer who devised the whole stinking scheme was... Celestia Ludenberg, or more precisely, Taiko Yasuhiro.
Honestly.
I lost. Well, that sucks. I guess trying to work with someone else was a mistake after all. Hifumi's ineptitude was beyond all my calculations.
I knew it.
So you really did approach Hifumi with this plan. But how did you get him to agree? I can't imagine he would have happily agreed to commit murder, right? I'm sure she relied on her specialty. Lying. My specialty. Don't make me laugh. I didn't have to lie to get him to agree.
So then...
Then did you use... you know. I knew you'd figure it out, Kyoko. You're absolutely right. To get Hifumi to act as my accomplice...
Indeed.
I used her. The laptop? For everyone who's still left, I'll avoid mentioning it by name, but... it was the one thing Hifumi and Taka were both super into. Oh, well... I appreciate Celeste not letting Monokuma know. Does she mean... is she talking about alter ego?
Say what?
What? What? What are you talking about?
Just a second.
Don't interrupt. We're in the middle of a very important conversation here. So tell us what you did with it, Celeste. I'm totally out of the loop as usual. How sad.
In other words...
Then you're the one that stole it?
Indeed.
That's right.
I see.
And you used it to drag Hifumi into the plan you'd come up with. Right again. Last night, after we had our meeting about how it had disappeared, I paid Hifumi a little visit. What are you doing here?
Actually...
I was hoping I could talk to you. Alone. It is about what was stolen. I know who did it.
What?
Are you okay with this?
It was Taka. He stole it.
So then...
And I have proof. Would you like to see it? As it turned out, I'd found a use for the digital camera. I'd taken you-know-what to Taka's room earlier and took pictures of it there. I deleted the picture as soon as I'd shown it to Hifumi, of course.
Damnation!
Grr, so it was him. But how did he do it? She was supposed to yell if either of us got close to her. You are correct, which is why Taka forced me to steal it.
Say what?
As for me...
Please forgive me. He threatened me.
Oh,
He did?
As for me...
He came to my room last night unannounced, and then it's hard for me to even say. He abused me.
What?
Oh. And he took pictures. He said if I did not do as he asked, he would show them to everyone. So I had no choice.
Damnation!
And Hifumi was too gullible, and he should have known that Tucker would never do that. The ultimate moral compass? Come on. That's a crime. An absolute crime. I knew he'd gone a little crazy, but...
Say what?
I never imagined he would go that far. So did he aid her out of a sense of chivalry, then? To help her? It was amazing how completely he bought it. I can't express how enjoyable that was. I'm about to say something I've never said before in my life.
Completely unforgivable!
I'm going to kill him. I'm going to fucking kill him.
Most unfortunate.
Wait, please, if you go now, you'll be playing right into his hands. Huh?
Actually,
Tucker is planning to use her to escape. And he has made you his target.
What?
Escape? You don't mean... Tucker is going to try to kill you. Oh, to save himself? She's so clever. What?
indeed.
And also he can keep her to himself.
This is unforgivable!
That bastard!
Completely unforgivable!
Bastard, 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 bastard!
Honestly.
Can we allow him to continue with these barbaric acts? Absolutely not. How could I? She...
I swear I will save her!
Actually...
Then would you like to join with me? It just so happens I have come up with a plan. I have devised a way to reclaim what he has stolen and escape this dreadful school. And with that, it is complete. What are you talking about? Oh, nothing. Hifumi agreed without a second thought. The effect that item had on him was remarkable. The power of love, even a love as twisted as that, could still drive people mad. It would seem... You disgust me.
I see.
I have another question for you. Was that strange costume Hifumi's creation?
Indeed.
Yeah, it was a real pain in the butt, too. All I asked him to do was make something to hide the face and general body size. I had no idea he'd make something like that, but it's my fault for picking him in the first place.
But...
So why'd you decide to make me the suspect? Because you're stupid.
Huh?
She's being honest. That's it.
Let's see.
And in that regard, I made the right choice. I'm so glad your stupidity surpassed my every expectation. Life must have been tough on your parents, though. I feel like I could cry.
Well,
But when you were explaining your plan to Hifumi, how did you explain the part about him playing dead? What she's asking is, what was Hifumi supposed to do after that, assuming you would actually let him live?
Are you okay with this?
That's simple. After he did his part and pretended to be dead, once someone showed up, I told him to say he'd be seriously wounded. He was on the verge of death, but he just barely held on. And he really believed that? Well, of course, that wasn't all there was to it. As I explained to Hifumi, the plan was... While you were all questioning him about what had happened to him, I was going to murder someone else. At that point, Hifumi would have an alibi, so nobody could doubt him. I told him that, and he believed it. It all seems very straightforward, stereotypical. I just matched the lie to the level of the opponent. In fact, Hifumi ate it up. He believed the lie wholeheartedly, right up until the moment of his death.
so in the end...
So you had planned to kill him all along. But of course, there would have been no point to my plan if the one who pretended to be dead did not end up dead himself.
What the heck?
How can human life mean so little to you?
Well,
That's a non-issue. I simply did everything in my power to win.
Don't be mean!
Now you sound like Byakuya.
I wonder about that.
No, he derives his pleasure from the thrill of the hunt, and in that aspect we are nothing alike.
Why?
Then what made you take things this far?
What the heck?
Was it really just for money? Are you talking about the $10 million Monokuma offered us? That is a lot of money, it's true. That's not all there is to it. From the moment our new life here began, my only thought has been escape.
But
all along you've been saying how we have to accept living here.
You little bitch!
Obviously that was a lie.
Hey!
I couldn't take it. I hated it from day one. More than anyone else in here.
You little bitch!
I wanted to get out. Every day was fresh torture. Do you want to know why? Huh?
This is fine.
Because I had a dream. And accepting a life here would have meant nothing less than giving up on my dream forever.
Honestly.
And there was no way that I could ever do that. In the underground world of gambling, I risked my life to make a metaphorical killing.
As for me...
And it was all for that dream. And what was this dream of yours?
Isn't it wonderful?
To live in a European castle. A castle? Damn. And to gather handsome men from all over the world to serve as my butlers/bodyguards. I was going to make them dress up like vampires and satisfy my every need. So it's a good dream. Once I obtained that, I would have created a perfectly aesthetic world of decadence.
This is fine.
Living the rest of my life there was my only dream, my only goal. That's what life is all about. Combined with my own winnings, Monokuma's $10 million would have made that dream a reality. I got right to the edge, but...
There is nothing to be done.
Unfortunately, my dream has been scattered to the wind. Still, I don't have any regrets. I pursued my dream till the very end. So why would I?
Just the worst.
You sound so passionate, but you were really able to kill your own friends for it?
Oh.
Are you asking me to feel guilty? That's a pointless endeavor. I think nothing of sacrificing others for my own needs. I feel nothing.
Do you understand?
That's all there is to me. That's what makes me complete. Isn't it terrifying how different our values are? There's simply no room for understanding.
What is this?
That's what we should be saying. And plus, how can you be so calm? Don't you realize you're about to die? Why aren't you scared? This hits Aoi so hard. I hope nothing happens to her. My ability to lie is unrivaled, and I take pride in that. It's not just other people, I can even fool my own emotions. The conscious deceives the unconscious. That's why you're not scared?
Yes, indeed.
That's right, I don't fear death. Kill me however you like. But you know, if I could be reincarnated, if I had a choice, then...
Isn't it wonderful?
I think I would like to come back as Marie Antoinette.
Hey!
You just get executed again. Celeste smiled then, and when she did, it looked to me like a poor effort to force it. She claimed she could fool her own feelings, but that statement itself must have been her final lie. And that weak, fake smile was what betrayed her.
Thrills, chills, kills!
You all done? Okay, then let's get rolling. The blackened disturbs the peace that must pay the price.
Now then, I've prepared a very special punishment.
For her, the ultimate gambler.
Let's give it everything we've got. It's punishment time!
And that's a wrap, my friends. Next time we'll see her execution and say goodbye to Celeste. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time on Let's Play Danganronpa. Trigger happy Havoc. Stay safe, and stay happy.